Hello, guys, and welcome to yet another episode on Clean Code with Fabian. Today we'll be understanding Laravel transactions. So if you're joining us for the first time, I'm excited to have you here. Please subscribe and join us on this journey on writing clean code. So let's quickly look at this article by Elan before we jump into the code properly. So this guy tried to explain what transactions are all about. So the whole idea, what you should think of a transaction, the whole idea is if you have multiple queries that need to perform at the same time as a unit, then you should put them in a transaction in a way that if it's either all of them perform successfully or the whole query will roll back. Let's say you want to debit a particular wallet and credit another wallet. So you want to make sure that as this wallet is debited, this wallet is also credited. And if that doesn't happen, then there's a rollback as if nothing happened. So that is the whole idea. So if you look at what we have here, transaction in MySQL is a sequence. It's a sequential group of statements, queries, or operations such as select, insert, update, or delete to perform as a single work unit that can be either committed or rollback. So that's the whole idea of a transaction is either it get committed, which is stored, or it gets rollback, which is it went back as if nothing happened. And what we have here, these are the four the this is what describe a transaction. We have atomicity, which makes sure that it's either all of them work or nothing work. We have consistency, which makes sure your database follows certain rules, and we have isolation, which makes sure that your transaction is working in isolation. Yeah, and we have durability, which means once a transaction is committed, it affects a permanent change, and your database can always survive in time. Let's look at how you can be able to have a transaction. This is how you can have a transaction if you are using closure DB transaction. You start by having your transaction in the closure, and then you have your code inside, and then this is just this second parameter is just indicating the number of times this should try. Yeah, so this is a way there's a way you can actually start your DB transaction. You can begin your DB transaction. This is more like the manual way of doing it, and then if everything works fine, you commit and you have a try and catch. If nothing works fine, it rolls back, right? But if you are using closure DB transaction, you don't have to have a rollback, have a commit, and have a begin transaction. Yeah. So this is what we'll also be going with. Yeah. So let's quickly look at some of the examples I have here for us. Yeah. So if you could look at what we have here, first looking at this, we have a DB transaction, right? And mind you, if you have a variable you need to pass, you can actually always add it here. You can always add your variable here, and then you will pass you will now be able to use it inside here. But for now we're not using any variable, so that's why this is not there. Yeah, so we have a transaction here, and what is handling is that we have like two operations. We have uh update transaction, and we have credit a user. We are checking if the wallet deposit was successful. If it was not successful, we'll make sure we credit a transaction showing that it was false. And then after that, we check if the user has that particular wallet based on the currency, and then we'll update a transaction which will be pending now, and then we'll credit the user wallet. So these are two operations happening. It's either this or this will happen, or this or this will happen. Now, in this situation, DB transaction is important because if these transactions is updated successfully and the user wallet is not able to credit, the whole thing should roll back as if nothing happened, so that your data will still be in a consistent state. So that if a transaction, you know that for every transaction that is happening here, there is a wallet operation that is also happening. You understand? So that is the whole idea of having a DB transaction, having a transaction. Now, let's look at this second example. In the second example, what we have here is we have an inner DB transaction. It's like there's a DB transaction inside another DB transaction, right? Like a nested transaction. So for a nested transaction means that everything that happened here, if anything fail here, it's only what is in this inner transaction that will roll back. But if what is outside here fail, then everything will be rolled back, including what is in the inner transaction. Yeah. And this five, you can either have two or three. This indicates that this is a number of times that this will try. If it fails, this is the number of times it will try. Yeah. So this there are rare scenarios where you'll be required to use this, but it's important you have an idea of how nested transactions work. Yeah. So that is it for this episode on Laravel transactions. I hope this video is able to help you understand some things about Laravel transaction. Any operation that is more than one that is performing as a unit need to be included in the transaction. That's the whole idea. Yeah. So I'll see you guys in the next episode. Please stay subscribed and like my videos. Have a nice day.